Thank you.
I have a follow-up to what you just
Yes.
said. So you said a certain amount of money is provided to the school district per student, and special education students are just a little bit more than
They
that
get
number.
about I would say half more than that. So
And
it's
so
like $1. Let's say if a regular student got $1, it's going to get $1.50.
is
Yes,
that money specifically allocated for sped students, or is that just money that goes into the overall budget? Like,
I honestly don't know. I'm not going to lie. I'm a very uh, well versed individual, but I'm not afraid to say I don't know everything. I know a lot of things. I don't know everything. I would say though that I do know they get more funding for sped students.
That I do know as well.
Okay,
I just know that I have heard parents talk about the paperwork coming from other districts here, and then parents who have left this district going somewhere else. The sped paperwork is not as accurate as it could be and should be. So I'll need to, maybe there's something that needs to be further looked into, is making sure that the funds are going to using systems for the sped paperwork and documents that makes it easier for the R vice chair. I don't know what they call him here, but the person who takes care of the arts and does all of that in this
That's-
district. Yeah, some people call them sped facilitators. Making sure that maybe some funding is used to making sure the documents and the paperwork is top notch and all the details are there. But that costs money, making sure we're using different systems.
If I can add to that, I was going to say when the students under the services of the SPED umbrella, they should be getting their annual review and dismissal meeting every year. So if you're a parent with a child with special needs, you should be having an annual meeting. I encourage you to attend those meetings because what happens is you're revisiting the accommodations that your child is receiving. And those accommodations can be changed and they can be adjusted to ensure that your child is getting the support in class to be getting the highest quality of education that your child deserves. So those meetings are very critical. The documentation that is created in the art are the accommodations that a teacher should be implementing daily in instruction for that child. And so if you're not, as a parent, if you're not in tune, or if you're not aware like how that's being implemented, the meeting is a great opportunity for you to ask those questions. Well, how is this being implemented? How they're making sure that my son is getting text to speech, or my son is getting large print because, he has visual issues, right? So these are the kind of questions as a parent you should ask. And then if there's things that get outdated, sometimes a child outgrows an accommodation and no longer do they need it. And you have to make sure that that accommodation is getting taken off of their IEP, right? The individual education plan, and making sure that the teacher, whenever your child is struggling academically, that you ask the teachers, are you helping my child with the accommodations that they're legally supposed to be implementing? Because the IEP is a legal document that every teacher should adhere to when they're instructing your child in their classroom. So those are things that are important for parents to be aware of.
So if the paperwork is outdated or it's extended beyond when the child was supposed to have the meeting, then their question becomes, how is the child getting what they need in the classroom if the meeting isn't happening when it's supposed to? Or if the parents are not involved in the meeting yearly like they're supposed to, then what that means is the student is not getting what they need in order to learn. And what we don't want is our kids continually having gaps and getting left behind. That was the whole purpose of No Child Left Behind back in the day. That was the whole purpose, is to ensure that every student, no matter the disability, no matter the learning deficiency, getting a wholehearted education just like everybody else.